If you were offered a piece of furniture for free and it looked like this, what would you do? Would you accept it and run and pick that thing up as fast as you could, or just say, no, thank you?
Well, I am totally up for a challenge. Kudos to this mama for letting her little one just have creative freedom on this piece and just doing whatever her little heart pleased. She might even be a future furniture flipper in the making. So as you can see, the top couple of layers are coming off pretty easy. I think it's just like an acrylic type paint. So I'm just gonna get out my carbide scraper and start going to town and getting all of that really easy stuff off first. Check out that massive pile that I am pulling off with my scraper. It's insane. I'm going to use some of this Jasco stripper and try to remove some more layers. This definitely has a lot more layers to it than I had initially expected, and you'll see how many there is here eventually. I am certainly not a fan of paint stripper, especially these ones that are really caustic and stinky. But when desperate times call for desperate measures, I guess. So here I am on my second coat of this stripper. And I got through probably um, 2 layers of paint now. I think I see a green. So I went through that top layer, a red layer, a white layer, a yellow layer, and now I am onto a green layer. I'm just continuing to get that paint off with my scraper and the stripper, and then I needed my husband to come and help me remove all of the drawer pulls because those were painted on and stuck on as well.
If you have come here for a full restoration video, spoiler alert, I will not be fully restoring this piece. Little bits of it, but not 100%. So before you hate on me, just keep on watching the video and let me know what you think of my flip at the end.
Oh my goodness, look at this. I can finally see some wood. There's actually wood underneath all of this paint. I grabbed my sander and some 80 grit sandpaper and sanded off the rest of this stuff. I got as much of that paint off as I possibly could stand. But you know what they say, if you can't beat them, then join them. I am spray priming the areas where I didn't get off all of the paint, which is just basically on the back, the 2 front drawers, and the side panels. It was just way too much. Here I am doing a paint wash on the top. I also did a paint wash on the 3 front drawers. I am just spraying down my whole surface. I'm misting it with water, and then I'm just taking a little bit of paint on my paintbrush and I'm brushing it on and spreading it out. This is the way I prefer to do it over pre-mixing my paint wash. It just works good for me. I am making sure to keep my arm straight so my brush strokes are straight and not curved. I have a few more in-depth videos on my channel about how I do my paint wash. If you are interested, I will link those down below in the description box. I'm using the color called Mineral from the Waverly Chalk paint line, and I'm painting the whole entire piece.
Here are the drawers that I did a paint wash on. I had a little bit of veneer that was lifting right here, so I stuck some glue underneath of it and used a piece of painter's tape to hold that down. For the back where I primed it, there must have been some sort of chemical reaction or something happening there. I probably didn't wipe off all of my cleaner or remove all of my cleaner, and then that's what happened. I'm really not super concerned about that because that is on the back of this piece. So I'll just give it a light scuff sand before I go over it to paint it. And I'm waiting on this drawer to dry, where I added glue on my drawer slide right there. It's actually not a drawer slide, it's more of like a drawer support. So that was falling off, so I had to glue that back on because it was snagging as I pulled it out of the drawer. And I'm using these ratchet straps to hold and keep it really tight as it dries, so that way it doesn't just kind of pop back out of place when I added the glue. This is the top after the paint wash. As you can see, there's like some watermark stains and stuff like that. And I'm just going to totally embrace all of the imperfections on this piece. It's very old, so it is what it is. Once I get my paint on my drawers, I will be adding this transfer.
I had a couple repairs I had to make where the veneer was missing, and I added some wood filler. So here I am just sanding that wood filler off and sanding it smooth, as well as sanding down some rough areas on that drawer support. And I pulled off that tape from my veneer repair on the drawer, and it looks great. Adding some primer here to the drawers to get some better adhesion and to help prevent any bleed through. At this point, I'm applying some more of this Waverly chalk paint in the color called Mineral, and I'm really just not loving my whole design. And I probably changed my mind on this piece as many times as there were layers of paint. I'm using this clear matte polyacrylic to seal all of my paint. And if I'm able to find any of these products that I used in this video, I will link them down below. Candle wax will help your drawers slide better. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to rub it alongside this drawer slide on the inside, as well as on the sides of the doors, the sides of the drawers, and the bottoms and the tops and the edges of the drawers as well. This just basically kind of helps give them a little bit of extra lubrication, so it's not wood on wood sliding and it tends to drag and get stuck. So this just kind of helps a little bit to get a smoother pull out of your drawer. Using the Waverly paint color called Plaster, I'm painting all of the sides of the drawers on the outside and on the inside of them. So I decided to paint this white. I just felt like that furniture transfer was going to pop out so much better if the drawers were white. So I'm repainting the bottom two drawers, and I think I've also changed my mind on something else as well. I think I'm going to do green stripes to pull out some of the greens from out of the transfers. Now I'm adding some clear flat poly to the top, and I'm going to do several coats on the top of this because it is a dresser and they tend to get a lot of use. So I'm going to add stripes like this. I'm just using the pieces of tape that I used for here just to kind of reuse my materials, and I'm going to kind of use this as a guide for where the middle of my drawer is, and I'm doing double thickness stripes. I'm going to apply my stripes or my strips of painter's tape like that, and I want my green stripe to be in the middle. I'm going to start by, actually I want to use the clean side of the tape that I haven't already used, and then this is just kind of how I measure my stripes in the middle.
with the clean side facing outward where I will paint, just like so. And then I'm going to make a stripe or put a strip down right here so I can finish my middle stripe. And I'm just going to continue on. And I'll just keep going until I'm completely to my end. And that is really, like, for me, I think the easiest way to measure my stripes without getting too technical and having to sit here and measure out everything. And it will end up being even on both ends. As long as you're able to find the middle, you should be pretty good using this method. But I do recommend starting from the middle and working your way out. That way you're even on both ends of the drawer. I'm going to press all of my tape down really good and make sure it's really secured. And then I'm going to take some of my polyacrylic and I'm just going to brush over the edges of my tape. And then once this is dried, I'm going to paint my green stripes. This really just helps to create some really nice, super crisp, clean lines when you pull off your tape. It creates like a barrier so that your paint, when you apply it, cannot get underneath of your tape. I'm going to add some brown wax to the drawers, and this is just a Waverly brand. It's water-based, so you can add water to thin it out. And I feel like I just need to darken these drawers up a little bit. They were just too light.
This is a Miss Lillian's brand no wax chalk paint in the color called Lichen. And I am applying this paint in one direction to create my stripes. I'm not worried about full coverage. I want them to look kind of a little bit weathered and worn. Check out this super satisfying tape pull. Look at those beautiful lines.
Okay, so now I'm going to add some of this brown antiquing wax to the mineral colored paint. As you can see up here, it makes it look like wood. So I'm just going to put it on kind of heavy. And then I'm going to go back in and wipe it. I'll probably take the drawer out too and do on the inside of the drawer too. That way if the drawers get pushed backwards, it just doesn't, there's not like just a paint line right there, you know, where I painted, and it doesn't match or anything. And I will probably do a couple of layers of this just to get it to the color that I need, which is more, it's kind of similar to how these drawers turned out. As you can see, I did up here already, so I'm going to keep doing it and continue to do it until I can get it to a close match to the actual wood on these drawers. It's important to stay in the direction of the wood grain.
I also applied that brown antiquing wax to the top of the dresser. Everything is really starting to come together. I picked out these really cute knobs for the top 3 drawers. I will have them linked below in the description box. They're from Amazon. I'm putting on this furniture transfer next. I'm using a little bit of painter's tape to just kind of help hold them in place. Once I find where I want them to go, I'm just going to take my little rubbing stick that is included in the transfer kit, and I am just rubbing all over this transfer until the transfer releases from the paper. Once I get the transfer completely off, I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to rub around on the edges and remove any of that little halo that is left around the transfer. I'm making sure to be very careful, especially on the areas where the drawer separations are. And if for some reason the transfer doesn't want to come off of that clear paper, just lay your transfer back down and rub on that area until it releases from the transfer paper. Little Milo came to say hi. He wanted some kisses. With a razor blade, I am very carefully cutting where the separation of the drawers are and the transfer is. I am cutting closest to the top of the edge. That way, when I open up the drawer, you do not see any breakage or separation of the transfer. And I'm just going to press the transfer down over around the edge of the drawer. Hopefully that makes sense. And then on that top drawer, I am going to cut my transfer closest to the bottom of the drawer. I'm making it go really slow and using kind of like a sawing motion because my razor is not the sharpest. So I do recommend using a sharp razor if possible. And again, just gently press that transfer around the curved areas of the bottom and on the middle part of the divider. This is important so that way your transfer doesn't snag when you're opening and closing the drawers. Off camera, I sealed that centerpiece with some polyacrylic before I put my drawers back in. I decided to add the same stripes on the side panels of the dresser, and I'm using the same method as I did on the drawers. I'm finding the middle and applying my tape, then applying the polyacrylic and waiting for that to dry to seal the edges before I paint. And we are in the home stretch. I hope you have enjoyed this video so far. Adding more of that brown antiquing wax, and I did go pretty heavy on it. I really feel like this made it actually look like wood, even though it was all paint. Time to seal everything, and I'm using that clear flat polyacrylic again. I'm applying it right over top of the transfer. Off camera, I added the drawer liners as well as the drawer pulls that I found in my stash from another project. Let's have a quick look at the before we check out the final reveal. It was a really good bone piece and it was definitely worth saving. You guys let me know what you think down in the comments of my flip. I hope you love it and I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you learned something. Thanks a lot, you guys. Have a great day and happy flipping.